Good morning, friends. Welcome in to 9 o'clock. Here we are in the morning, ready to go. Happy to have you here. Excited to be here for today's class. Blending scissors. I love blending scissors. I use a ton of blending scissor in a lot of my barber shop work. It's a classic tool providing great benefits for hair cutters and great work, and love sharing blending scissor information and blending scissor stuff and all that. Before we go there, of course, let's get started with the morning. Hope you're having a great day. Hope your day's off on the right foot. One of the best ways I know to start every day for a hair cutter on the right foot is with $100,000 Hair Cutter. Doing a reading from the book every single day. Keep it on your night table. Go there first thing in the morning. Get your dose of motivation, inspiration, information to get you successful and to get you to six figures in our industry. June 24, day 175, 190 days remaining in the year. We're getting to that midpoint of the year really, really quick, guys. Upcut. You'll remember yesterday, June 23 was cross-cut. June 24 was upcut. We brought a mannequin out during $100,000 Hair Cutter, and we actually covered these two technical aspects. I'm going to invite you to go back and watch yesterday's video to cover both of those. We won't do a double for those of you that join us daily and see all of this. We'll just pick an extra bonus day today. We'll dip back earlier in the year. We'll grab a bonus date. We're going to take a date since it is 6/24. We're going to flip it around and we're going to go to 4/26, April 26. Let's go there just for our extra day today. April 26, day 116, 249 days remaining in the year. So this is our flip-flop day for today so that we give you fresh info today, because we covered today yesterday, because yesterday and today were partner topics. Made sense to me. I understood, you know. April 26, day 116, 249 days remaining. Use product on clients. Funny, I did a video on this last night. I recorded something important for product-related information last night. Use product on clients. The best product knowledge is usable product knowledge. Knowledge gained through using shampoos, conditioners, gels, waxes, pastes, etc. What does it really do? How does it really work? You got to get your hands in it. You got to get dirty. And so do your clients. Use products on clients as part of their service experience. Place the bottle or tube in their hand. Tell them what it is. Tell them what it does. And tell them why you chose the product for them. It's not selling, it's telling. One of the keys to product sales. We can never talk too much about the importance that the retail dollars represent to your bottom line in the business. Without a solid product selling program and without the revenue that products contribute to your bottom line, you're going to have a hard time getting to $100,000 hair cutter status. I can tell you that pretty confidently. So take it to heart. Reach out. Take it to me. If I can help you build and grow your product business, let's have that conversation. I welcome it at any time. All right, let's talk about blending scissors. We frequently call scissors straight scissors when they have two straight blades for direct cutting, or we call them just scissors. There's a world out there in which a lot of people call them shears, and I don't necessarily believe in playing a lot of games with the names, trying to be fancy or anything like that. From a science and technical standpoint, what we use in the beauty industry are, in fact, scissors. Shears are used to cut up chickens or fabric or gardens, you know. We use scissors. Defined by one finger per ring, defined by shears requiring multiple fingers per ring, and a lot of details like that. Not important to our conversation where we hope to go today. Blending scissors, scissors used for two things. Scissors used for blending and scissors used for removing bulk. Same pair of tools, same tools, blending and bulk reduction as it relates to men's hair cutting. Now, there are lots of multi-tooth scissors out there. Not all multi-tooth scissors are, in fact, blending scissors. And we want to make sure that we share and examine that pretty well. Let's take a look at a couple to get some basic definitions and get some basic understanding in place. This is a classic 4420 blending scissors, barber blender. If you field trip your way to old school barbers anywhere, you're going to find this scissors. I've used one of these for many, many years. I now have one custom made for me, a version of this, looks like this guy here, but they have some similar characteristics. Number one, true barber blenders are going to be 6.5 long. There are some shorter things out there. That's a 5.5. It's set up like a blender, but I think it's a little small for true barber blending. There are some bigger ones out there, but a true barber blender is going to be a 6.5. A true barber blender will have the notches on the non-moving blade, and the moving blade will be stable. I'm sorry, the moving blade will be solid on the back side, just like that. Most true blenders are going to have a fixed finger rest, and most true blenders are going to have a fairly consistent balance between handle and blade for the purposes of coverage on the head. That's a true 4420 classic barber blender. This guy right here is the one that's custom made for me, temporarily due to coronavirus out of stock on my website, but coming back into stock soon. An upgrade from the 4420, stainless steel, so it's going to stay nice looking longer. But just a generally really beautiful, very workable tool. Fixed finger rest, improved bumper, balanced handle to blade relationship, adjustable tension screw in stainless. So that's your classic barber blender and your basics on it. Not only a vintage established brand, but also my own custom version. Now, a couple things to look at. I mentioned that this guy was a little short, but it's set up right and the tooth configuration is good. This was part of a 3-piece set that I bought many years ago. It helps us illustrate some differences. Not a barber blender. That's a texturizing scissors. Look how big the spaces are, and look how few actual teeth there are. Very little hair gets cut with this. Not a blender, but a great way to impart texture through the interior of haircuts. This one here, not a blender. It's part of that 3-piece set, along with, albeit short, what I consider a blender. This guy right here is a mild chunker or notcher, not a coarse and aggressive one. There's an 8-tooth out there that it bites like an alligator and creates real variegated texture through the hair. Great tools, fun tools, creative tools, not a blender. Not a blender. So it's good to know and see those. Couple other things I want to share with you guys before we actually look at some technique. This is not a blender. This is a thinning shear. Do not confuse thinners and blenders. We don't ever do thinning on male clients. Literally never. We blend and we reduce bulk. Thinning scissors, I believe, are only to be used on mid-length and longer hair. That means typically ladies' hair, but it's not a gender thing. Mid-length and longer hair. Now notice, notches on both teeth, and they line up and slide out. You take sections of hair, close and slide, close and slide. That's a thinning scissors. Not to be used on male clients, not to be confused with a blender. Watch your terminology. Two other tools I have, because I've literally got a handful of tools here to share. I want to share this guy. Fun one for me to give you a look at. Rubber dipped handles. It's a German tool. This was actually part of my beauty school kit 33 years ago. I used it for many, many years. It's a blender. It's set up as a blender. It doesn't have the finger rest, but the teeth are on the non-moving blade. The moving blade is behind and straight, solid, smooth. This one's a little tight. It could use an adjustment, but I don't use it anymore. It's just part of my collection. And this one's a little coarse. If you look at the classic 4420 in my right hand and the red-handled one in my left, you'll notice the teeth are a lot coarser on this. I would use, and I have something like this in the shop. I have two blenders on my station. I have a classic 4420, well, my version of it. And next to it, I have, it's actually a shark fin that I have that has a coarser tooth pattern to it, and I use that on coarser hair textures. It's a little long for my money, but I like the tooth pattern on it. So this one had some value, used it a lot. For real fine hair, you know, where I work in the shop now, we have a very, very large customer base of senior citizens. As guys age, hair gets a little finer, hair gets a little thinner and lighter. This would be one aggressive beast on a lot of my older male clients. Not a good choice. Lastly, I want to show you this guy. And if anybody wants one of these, I want to invite you to just send me a note. Send me a message and I will get you one. I no longer stock this on my website, but I'm thinking of stocking it again for a couple of reasons. But this is a really good, for the money, really basic blending scissors. Under 50 bucks. It's got 6.5 length. It's got a little more handle and a little less blade proportionally. The portions are off just a little, but I like it. I like it because it's inexpensive. It's a value. I like it because it's a great way to get a hair cutter into a true classic barber blender for barber blender work very inexpensively. You can graduate out of this scissors pretty quickly and be ready to step up. But if you get 2-3 years out of a scissors like this, at under 50 bucks, you don't sharpen something like this. You use it for the amount of wear and tear that blenders get. You'll get a lot of use out of a tool like this. But the reason I share it is because you don't have to spend big money. You know, I see people buying $500 and $700 blenders. Crazy. Don't do it. If you want to spend a couple of $100 on your good conventional cutting scissors, you don't need to put a lot of money into a good blender. First of all, a good blender can be bought, can be had for very little. And second of all, you put a lot less mileage on a blender than you ever would on a straight scissors. But I can order these up. Anybody that wants one, shoot me a note. I'll shoot you a price. I'll get your info. And I'll go online and I'll get from my vendor on these. I'll get a whole handful of them, make them available to people if anybody wants one. But a very, very good, very viable blender for not a lot of money. So wanted to share that one, wanted to show that one. Just say, hey, Ivan, shoot me a note. Hey, Ivan, give me some information on that bargain blender that you've got. Because it really is a heck of a deal for very little money. All right. For our demonstration purposes, I'm going to go to the 4420 Classic, but I'm going to use my version because I just like it. I like the hand feel. This one's got a little bit of an angle to the finger rings and to the handle. This one is very, very rounded and polished. A little sexier version of that straight up classic blending scissors. So, before we actually get into the cutting with our blender, we're going to talk about our comb. Because anytime we're picking up a scissors to do work, we're picking up a comb, and the comb's got to be the right partner. My zoot comb was very deliberately created with the idea that it was going to serve all of our tools. Clipper, trimmer, scissor, razor, blender. Blender's in that group. And where I've toured people through the zoot comb, handle, thin, fine, flexible. It's the ultimate detailing, lining, edging, and trimming comb right there in the handle. The larger side of the comb is ideally suited to serving many of our other tools. Our straight scissors and our trimmer, right back here for sure. Our clipper, because it's smooth, definitely. Our regular scissors with those secondary teeth for a little bit of tension, perfect. But blending scissors and razors are two categories where I'm a big believer in wide teeth, low tension. I always hold up this one as a conventional cutting comb and I talk about thin, fine teeth for tension and control, big, wide teeth for less tension, and loose control. Loose control, if that makes sense. I love that comb, and it was part of the inspiration for zoot comb because I wanted everything. I wanted fine teeth, I wanted wide teeth, and I wanted an interim choice. A guy's favorite styling tool is his wide tooth comb right there on the end of his arm. I believe if a guy's going to live his hair every day with a wide tooth comb, you should be cutting it with a wide tooth comb, especially with our tools that talk about texture. Now we can obviously create texture with point and slide cutting with our straight scissors, but really when we talk about texture, we move into clipper, and then from clipper we move into blender and razor category. So that's when I think it's important. We pick up a blender, we pick up a wide tooth comb. Let's get a client over here and let's talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing. This is our pomp fade from yesterday. It's got a nice, I love the pomp top on that. I just would love to grow my hair out to look like that on top. I think I will. We put a nice medium fade through the back and sides of this, but we've got some heaviness and some bulk in the top, and I left it there yesterday knowing today we were going to blenders. Now, here's your rule. Anytime you pick up a blending scissors, you pick up a wide tooth comb. That's rule number one. Now, when we pick up a wide tooth comb, we hold it with our thumb and forefinger. You guys remember from clipper cutting, I would talk about hold up a quarter. I lay that quarter on there to get that point. But hold up your quarter by the edges. Kind of looks like that. Hold up your comb like you hold up your quarter and make a fist with 3 fingers. All about control. Blending scissors in the opposite hand. When I hold my comb up between my head and his head, this comb has 2 sides. We refer to this side of the comb as my side. We refer to this side of the comb as his side. Now here's the rule on blending scissors. What do we do with blending scissors? We blend and we reduce bulk. We blend and we reduce bulk. We blend and we reduce bulk. My side, his side. Blend, bulk reduction. Blend, bulk reduction. The side of the comb we use is based on the technique we're applying with our hair cutting. What do we mean by that? Let's talk about it. And I'm turning this at an angle so that you can see the back of the head in perspective on the camera. When we are blending, we're going to work on my side of the comb. We're going to hold the comb at an angle. Try to avoid holding the comb horizontally. If you hold the comb horizontally, where the hair sits in along the base of the teeth at the spine, and notice a little bit of that hair falls through the finer teeth into the bottom. That's why the design of the teeth on the zoot comb were so very specific. If you don't have a few of these, ivanzoot.com, you got to get a few of these. So here's the deal. We comb it up. Some of the hair falls into those finer teeth for a little greater control, but generally speaking, the hair lives in the looser, wider teeth for a much more natural flow and behavior. Holding the comb at an angle and working on my side of the comb. Notice how that works. I'm staying out on my side. When I elevate sections of hair, I'm looking in the comb for points, bumps, jumps, demarcations, extra hair, or some indication of weight. I'm out at the ends of the hair. I'm not working deeply in at the scalp. Some folks find, even with blending scissors, a snap-on guard on a zoot comb is a great idea, because the longer teeth of the zoot comb guard, check it out. When you've got your wide teeth, these are even wider. They're every other one. Look what happens there when we snap the guard on. I've got 1/2 inch more tooth. That's a bigger rake for raking through the hair. So I put my guard on, I get a little more control of the flow of the hair. The guard will also keep me away from the scalp and elevate that hair and impact its flow. One other thing to notice, and one other reason why I love using a blender with a zoot comb guard in place. If you don't want the thickness, go to the red guard. Go to that number 2. It adds very little to the back end of the comb. You're not really putting much of a guard on the back. But one of the things you'll notice, and maybe it's more visible with the white, I'll put it on and see what you can see. Notice that when the guard is in place on the zoot comb, the top edge of the base of the guard lines up with the tips of the teeth on the short internal teeth on zoot comb. You see that? Maybe red makes it a little more visual. But we've blocked or obscured the small teeth. That prevents hair from sliding into the small teeth and lets us stay at the wide and soft teeth from our comb. Look how nice that lets us blend in and through. And I'm just working out at the ends of the hair, lifting up small amounts and blending through. That is proper blending. We had a lot going on there. We have our scissors. We've got our hand on our comb. We've got our comb at an angle. We're working in the wide teeth. We're working on the ends of the hair. These are all the little details that make up good technique for blending scissors, for blending men's haircuts. Now, I want to talk, and I don't want to take any bulk out of the top of this. I think this, I've lightened it up already, and I like it a lot. So when I go to bulk reduction, I'm going to get his buddy. They look a lot alike, don't they? This is another mannequin I have here, and this has got a bit shorter top and a fuller haircut. I would call this not so much maybe a temple taper or an edge fade, because very quickly this gets a lot bulkier and a lot fuller. This was tapered clipper over comb. This side was cut in with my fade comb. Now, that's why this side, notice on the two sides of this haircut, this side of the haircut has a little more of a vertical feel to it. We very deliberately, with our fade comb, we're working in a bit more of a vertical sense. Not a bad thing, just a different thing. I can go into this other side that is more rounded. See the difference? I can go into this other side that is a little bit more rounded, and I can go in there with my fade comb, and notice how I slot that in, and I work very, very, very vertically to finesse that in. And look, you can see very, very quickly with just a few swipes with this fade comb. Fade comb's a cool tool. Fade comb's a lot of fun, but all of a sudden now, look how that had more curvature to it. I put a little more verticalness into that by using that fade comb to vertical in those sides. So while we're talking fade comb, of course, we frequently talk Big Red. This is our Big Red blender. So were this a real client, let's try to make this experience as very real as it can be from a haircutting perspective. We would have done our taper, we would have cut our top, we would have worked on blending it together. And to fine-tune the blend, I would pick up a Big Red, because I just love how easy this makes it to tie that top in. We're focusing on blending, and this class was all about blending scissors, but blending scissors are very much a finesse tool. I'm not going to take out large amounts of bulk as part of a blending process with a blending scissors. I'm going to get the vast majority of my blend put into place with clipper over comb. And don't overthink it. You know what this Big Red is? This Big Red is clipper over comb. It's a big comb. I love the handle design. I love the angled positioning on it. I love how smooth and easy it makes the blending of these kinds of haircuts. But once the basic blend is finessed into place, we go to blending scissors, just like we did on our prior client. We focus in on finessing that blend, working on the ends of the hair, working at an angle. Some of these things are not going to change. Working at an angle, smoothing that off. But it's feeling a little heavy. It's feeling a little thick, especially in this side, in the crown area, and right, for sure, right in through here. A lot of heaviness. Now we're going to go under the comb. We're going to go to the client side of the comb. You'll remember I said blending on my side, bulk reduction on his side. So, what does that bulk reduction look like? We come underneath, we lift up the hair, and we use the comb to gauge or feel for the hair. If the comb catches or snags or hangs up, or you feel that heaviness, you feel that thickness, same way you would do that with your hand, running your hand through their hair. Feels thick right here. If it feels thick right there, we're going to come in underneath. Now, there's a rule. It's called the rule of fifths. The rule of fifths is the idea that when you come under the comb to reduce bulk in a men's haircut like that, when you come under the comb, you want to imagine, no matter how long the hair is on their head, you want to imagine every hair was divided into 5 equal parts, moving outward from the scalp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifths. And when you apply blending scissors under the comb to reduce bulk, you only want to put the scissor in at the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of the hair strand. 3, 4, 5. Stay away from 1 and 2. Stay away from the base. Especially on coarser hair textures, getting too close to the base will cause porcupining. It'll cause internal pieces to stick up and out and through the overall shape of the haircut, and that becomes spiky, porcupiney, and objectionable. That's how we create texturizing for volume and fullness when that's our goal, but on mid-length and shorter men's haircuts, that is almost never the goal. So the rule of fifths, mid-strand to ends when we're coming under for bulk reduction. Obviously, only fifth number 5 when we're using blending shears for blending. So that's what the information I have to share for you today on proper use of blending scissors for both blending and bulk reduction. The recap: teeth on the non-moving blade, finger rest, minimum 6.5. Always pick up a wide tooth comb or some form of a wide tooth comb when working with your blending scissors in the interest of tension control and movement, because it's going to be how do these haircuts look and lay and go when they go and do and be on their own. As soon as we switch to fine teeth, like for the fine work down here, that's because we think we are in control. There's lots of good blending scissor choices out there. Remember, anybody who's interested in that low price version that I've got, I'm going to special order for that. Hit me up anytime in the next day or two, and I'll get you on a list, and I'll get you ordered up for those. I'll get a price for you. Things like Big Reds and fade combs, of course. And right here, guys, the #1 purchase on my website, #1 purchase is $100,000 hair cutter. Right now, running a close second and fighting for first is the new book, 100 by 100, 100 new haircut customers in 100 days. But outside of educational materials, purchase #1 is this right here. It's the Zoot Comb system with an extra Zoot Comb. It's the system plus one, system plus comb. You got one in your hand, you got one in the sanitizer. Boom. The second best-selling item on my website is this. It's called a Fade and Blend Combo. It's a fade comb and a Big Red blender. It's these two tools together. You save a little bit because you buy them as a 2-piece combo. I sell Fade and Blend combos all day, every day of the week. Literally, because these are efficiency, effectiveness, speed, and quality tools that any hair cutter can use immediately to do better haircuts. So those are available on the website as well. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We've got one more class this week. We've got a Thursday. There is no Friday class. We're going summer schedule so that we can enjoy the weekend in spite of the fact that we've got some limitations. You know, can't go to a ball game just yet. But I understand MLB's kind of working the deal out. Tomorrow is backhand clipper cutting. One of my longtime favorite technical skills to share. It's right up there with skip guard tapering. Tomorrow we're going backhand. That is definitely a Zoot Comb technique. I'll look forward to seeing you here tomorrow at 9. Meantime, I got to get on the web. I got a lot of work to do today, including an invitation for our Wednesday meeting. the Wednesday meeting Wednesday nights. It's an open meeting this week, so you can get an idea of who we are and what we do and how we together help each other to build and grow our business. We're still in the countdown to July 1, Raise Your Haircut Prices Day in the USA. So we're still helping people finalize their plans for their haircut price increases. You know where to find me when you need me. Please reach out anytime for help. Have a great day. Be nice to each other. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.